Well, thank you so much, and thank you, Mitesh. As someone who posts daily ideas on Instagram about what to wear to present, I'm going to have to raise my game, clearly. It is wonderful to see so many people here today, and I know with those online as well, I believe there's 750 people joining us this afternoon. So thank you for all the time you're putting into this, for your involvement, and I hope that it's both enjoyable and informative and inspirational. As we've seen, that's what you really want to hear. Of course, bigger isn't always better, but when it comes to a collaborative effort like the Diversity Project, it actually really is. The more firms and people working in our industry we can get to really unite behind the Diversity Project's mission, which is to create an industry where everyone is welcome, where everyone can build a career, where everyone feels they belong, well, the more likely it is that we're going to achieve that. Which is why, where's my clicker gone? I forgot my first thing. I'm very excited to also announce that we have reached a key milestone just in time for the annual event. We have actually reached exactly 100 member firms. It is a moment to celebrate because, as I say, it gives me greater confidence, us all greater confidence, that we can collaborate, that we can share ideas, that we can amplify the efforts that we make individually and as firms, and that we can achieve the goals that we've set. Now, I make no apology for being quite ambitious generally, but of course, having 100 member firms does mean that we've raised our ambition levels even higher this year, and starting really with expanding the resources that we have at the Diversity Project. We have had a couple of new people join the team. I have to give a shout out right at the start to Adriana Weber, who has the job title of project manager, but has actually masterminded with Linda Rossheim's help today's conference. And we've also welcomed Jenny Fenton, who has a very important role, and that is as relationship manager for our member firms. So one of the things we've been actively seeking to spend more time on is really to listen to what's working, what isn't going quite so well, where people want help, where people think there are gaps. Now, the other way that we have shifted our ambition is to focus very much on results. Today is all about impact, and we have to be very laser focused. 100 members is great for commitment, showing commitment, but we need results. You're going to hear shortly from, and it's going to be the longest lineup of chairs, the longest, biggest panel you've ever seen in your life, the 14 work streams that we have at the Diversity Project. And we have 14 work streams that are reflecting different dimensions of diversity for very clear reasons. One is because we're very much a grassroots organization, and there's huge passion and commitment from people leading and working in the work streams for the kind of areas that they're focused on. But also, frankly, given that there's so much that needs to be done in our industry, we really need to have that detailed focus on these different dimensions. The work stream leads are going to talk about their achievements, their goals, their objectives in a short while, so I'm not going to steal their thunder. But we also realize that makes it a bit complicated to an organization for people to navigate around and perhaps dilute sometimes the impact. And we want to encourage cohesion, collaboration, as I mentioned earlier. So this year, we relied upon 3 themes that we've wanted to have as sort of golden thread running through everybody's work. And they are allyship, the mispricing of talent, and intersectionality. And so you're going to hear a lot about those 3 themes throughout this afternoon. And I believe that this will help us, is helping us, to achieve more impact. We also have changed, oops, no, I think I've missed the slide with the Slido question. I'm going to carry on, and then we'll hopefully have that question come up in a moment. As we look forward into next year, and actually it doesn't matter at all that I've gone out of sync because this is going to help me get your inputs for next year. We want to focus on, obviously, whether we should revisit those themes before we start the next year's work. We'll be again drawing in our members' priorities through that continual interaction that we're having with them now. Having with you. And we have 3 sets of targets that we've established around 3 dimensions of diversity. This is not to say the other dimensions aren't important, but these are obvious areas which we believe will help with other dimensions as well. So those targets are set around socioeconomic diversity, race and ethnicity, and gender. We're obviously then factoring in what the work streams think is really important, and we'll be pulling all this together at our strategy day in January. Now that strategy day, again, is very collaborative. All the members of our advisory council are invited, and they're mainly the CEOs at member firms, our steering committee, which is the member representatives, sort of a level down. And then we have, obviously, our work stream leads. So a lot will come out of that. Our aim, of course, is to continue to accelerate inclusion and to accelerate progress. Up until now, it's been a little bit difficult to work out how we're doing when it comes to, oh, we've got a question coming up. It's already started, my Slido, sorry. I should break and just say, please do start completing this. We want to know from you, right up at the start of today's event, what you think is the key benefit from an inclusive workplace. Now this could be something around the industry, like modernizing, could be something around firms, encouraging collaboration, innovations coming up, or it could be something about individuals as well, so being belonging, etc. So do keep feeding into that. But this year, going forward, we will now be able to measure the progress. So it's all very well saying we're focused on results, but actually if you can't measure things, then it's very difficult to know if you're achieving progress. And later on today, you're going to hear from Matt Cameron about our new goals and progress tool that over 2/3 of our member firms have contributed to. And as always, we will continue to check in with member firms about their best practices, what's working, what's not working so well, and sharing ideas. So I'm just going to pause now and just see how we're doing. We've got... I love the fact that it's a very diverse set of suggestions. So we've got, a Wordle's supposed to have one big word in the middle, isn't it? And we've got nearly all the same size. But actually, that's quite interesting. It shows that we've got a lot of different benefits from an inclusive workplace. Belonging, innovation, fairness, psychological safety, different perspectives, diversity of thought, productivity. These are all pretty good things to have and very interesting for us as we look into next year. So before I conclude this brief introduction, it's a warm-up actually for all the detailed work you're going to hear about, I just wanted to give one illustration of how these themes that I've mentioned come into practice. We've just launched a very exciting speaker series called Potential Over Polish. This started off with a very inspiring talk by Matthew Syed. I think it's called Rebel Ideas and Diverse Backgrounds. Over 600 people attended this talk, which was fantastic. And this idea for a speaker series came about through our social mobility work stream, and you're going to hear a bit more from them in a moment or two. But of course, we quickly realized it has broad intersectional appeal. Often, I think, we suspect that we might be prioritizing, not intentionally, but we might be prioritizing polish over potential. It obviously cuts across all dimensions, every stage of recruitment as well. We can focus, as a lot of efforts, both within the Diversity Project and more broadly do, on the entry level, on graduate or school leaver point, and try to overcome our natural biases. But unfortunately, there is also a danger that we might be prioritizing polish over potential at other stages as people progress in their careers or don't progress. It's relevant across all aspects of diversity. And this is something now where we are considering different aspects of diversity as we invite speakers to come and present as part of this series, and of course, as we invite audiences who we think would benefit from hearing the talks. So just one example, and a recent one actually, this is a new speaker series, very exciting. All the details are on the website, of course, but one where we are it's a good example of where everything sort of comes together. And so it doesn't take away from the individual work of the social mobility, it enhances it, amplifies it, makes it more impactful. So enough from me for the time being. I will be back on stage shortly, but I now want to hand over to David Orgela, who is co-lead of our social mobility work stream, and he will introduce his panel. I hope you have a great afternoon. Thank you.